Hey, welcome, Soul Fam. I'm just burning a little Palo Santo here, just clearing the air, creating a space to share a quick conversation as I'm getting ready for my work day. I'm preparing to head off to campus. I work in a fiber arts program with college students, and I'm super lucky because that's an awesome job. So it does still get stressful, you know. I have family members, people, and dogs and things to care for to make my way out to work today. But I had a story that popped into my mind. It was actually about when I was a teacher in my 20s. I lived in the Bay Area. I lived in the East Bay, and I was in my 20s, and I think I'm trying to remember exactly my educational experience where I was at. I think I had decided to start working and stop going to school. So when I first went to college, I got a job through the art museum teaching art to kindergartners with another teacher, and it was just a wonderful, wholesome, and innocent, incredible experience. I love working with young people. Just an affinity for the youth and the lucidity. As an artist, a lot of artists try to get back to that level of creative mind and not having so many delusions developed in our minds. So right now I'm talking about an experience in my 20s where I'd actually gotten a job teaching at a school called the Waldorf School in the East Bay. And the Waldorf School is a private school. It's quite expensive tuition for students to attend. But what makes the Waldorf School special and stand out in a positive way in my mind is that this school focuses on the human experience and our relationship with the natural world and how we develop into that relationship. And there's a lot of art, dance, great reverence for the natural world in a spiritual way. So I felt really happy that I had an opportunity to work at this school at that time. And the school would have these really special birthday celebrations for the children. And we had a child in our class, and I'm gonna call him Male. Not male as in boy, as in you've got mail. M-A-I-L. That was his name. And Male was too young to really diagnose with autism, but he had autism, pretty extreme, for lack of a better word. I mean, that's a negative word, but I mean, he was having a really hard time integrating into the classroom because of his condition, and his consciousness, let's just say, was different than the other children. And his family loved him, and the class loved him, but he was different. And a lot of times he would it was almost like a cave animal. Like when the kids were playing, his favorite thing to do, he played and he had fun, and this might sound weird, but this is what he liked to do, was that he'd crawl deep into the nooks of the classroom environment. He wasn't scared. He just would crawl into the nooks and he would just creep out in his lair, probably just listening and observing things. He was probably just so sensitive. He was an empathetic child, and he was essentially nonverbal. So kids at that age, they're just becoming in between these super lucid beings into, unfortunately, in somewhat of a negative perspective, is to be institutionalized. That's what happens to us when we go to school. It's a really hard thing for parents to know what to do. There's so many great people in the school system. This isn't like a indictment against education, to say the least. I love education. I'm here for it. I'm a teacher, okay? But I'm not gonna, lightfoot around the heavy issues that we're facing as a culture, as a society, as human beings having a human experience. So, Liam, Male, sorry, blah blah blah, I'm probably gonna get this wrong. I'm trying to figure out how to protect people's names. It doesn't matter. Nobody knows. It doesn't even matter. So What matters is that I can tell this story. It's a true story. This wonderful child, we're just going to call him by his name now because I'm just going to get it confused. His name is Liam, okay? So Liam and me, we're at school, and I watch and observe the children. I love watching because I'm their teacher. I'm kind of there to make sure everybody stays safe. That's my number one job. I'm there to make sure that no harm is done as an adult. Like, that's really all I care about at the end of the day. I love teaching, telling stories, and everything else, but the most important role is to keep the children safe, okay? That's the role of adults, and it's a serious role, okay? So Liam's birthday had come up, and the whole classroom had a birthday celebration for Liam, and I'm trying to remember all the details. I mean, there's songs are sung, gifts are exchanged, games are played. I mean, it's a very exciting day. And Liam, who's a cave bear, who typically likes to be in hibernation, just kind of observing the wildness around him from a safe and quiet space outside of the light, is that he was put on blast, and he was excited. It was a lot of love for Liam. I mean, to be the center of attention in that way is not a normal day. So there was just great excitement and joy, and his mom and dad were there, and it was this wonderful day. And what happens to me as a human being is that when all that excitement goes on, I get lost in the excitement myself, and I lose focus sometimes on what was most important, which in that moment is Liam, okay? He's the child, he has special needs, okay, and it was not a normal day. So what happened after this celebration is mom and dad went home, but we still had school to play. And the teacher that I was working with, I was essentially like her assistant, is that she went off into the yard somewhere, like way away, and she asked me to do some work I was inside. I was doing dishes and stuff with some of the students, some of these young children, these little beings of like kindergarten age, right? These are very young children. So I'm in there, we're cleaning up, we're doing our thing, we're having fun, living appropriately and innocently and playfully. And the teacher brings Liam in, and she goes, I need Liam to sit down because he's being too excited, or something like that. Like, she was annoyed by him, and she asked if he could just sit down in there with me. Like, she thought that somehow discipline, or my discipline, as maybe as a man or something, because a lot of men aren't really around in that environment, she like fell back on me in this way. I was very young at the time. I was in my 20s. And she goes, I need him just to sit down. So I'm like, all right. So we're there. And then Liam, she leaves, and she goes like out of even within earshot or anything. She just bails. Maybe she was frustrated or stressed, I don't know. So I start working with Liam, and he's excited and he doesn't know what to do with himself. So I try to get him, he's not going to sit down. First of all, this kid's not sitting down. He's nonverbal. You're not going to tell him to sit down. That's not how that works. What he needed was love and attention at that moment. He probably felt some type of major shift in focus from his mom and dad and this great celebration around him to then just being, oh yeah, we're back to normal again. Like, Liam's just like, he's just a cave bear. Like, we don't need to pay attention to him anymore. He needed attention right there, and he needed love. And while there's all this different children in institutionalized environments, no matter how natural and hippy-dippy, whatever it is, no matter how affluent, no matter what's going on, that it's like a focus needed to be made in that moment, and a burden was placed on me, which was not possible to succeed under. So I start working with Liam with the love in my heart, and his excitement flares up too much. So he just starts running around the classroom in a way that was uncontrollable, and he starts to be disruptive and what could be perceived as violence, but I see it as vandalism, which is just like an act of resistance. So I'm with him, dude. I think he's okay. Like, I'm trying to be with love on this. But then he splits. he hits the deck, he runs out of the classroom, he starts running down the hall. And mind you, I'm a young man, and there's adults, like full-blown actual adults. When you're in your early 20s, you're kind of a child still. So there's like full-blown adult teachers with experience observing this, and then this one woman goes, we gotta like stop him. And she like snags him, little Liam, and then she goes, you're gonna have to restrain him. And I, in that moment, was like, what is my job again? Like, hold up, what am I doing? But then I just feel this need to step up. Like, I needed to step up and make sure that Liam was safe and that the needs of my work environment were cool. So I take Liam in my arms, and I hold his arms and I hold his feet, and the warmth rises, right? We're together in that moment. He needs love and affection, but I was told that I needed to restrain him. So I did hold him, and I kept him from hurting me or him with just the strength of my body in the most gentle way possible. So I'm holding his, kind of like his wrists, his hands together with one arm. I'm holding kind of his feet together. He's a small child with this side, and I'm keeping his head and everything safe, okay? So then I have to like find the teacher, the actual person that I work with, and she was pretty far away. So I had to walk with him through the building. He's making a lot of different expressions, which are, you know, it's not like he was really upset. He was like trying to break loose. He's trying to bite or whatever, but he's like making sounds. I mean, he was just like in a state that needed more of like isolation and back into a calm place with a loving hand. But I was told to kind of do this other system of like, I didn't know what to do. I was put in a very uncomfortable position, okay? So I took Liam in my arms and I took him out to the yard, and I found that other teacher, and I said basically to her that I needed her help, and you're gonna have to take Liam from me, because I felt very uncomfortable being told to restrain him. I wasn't gonna do that. I don't consider what I did to do that. I don't like that terminology, and Liam had special needs, and that school was not equipped to deal with it. And I think this isn't, again, a indictment on the school system or anyone there. Nobody knew what to do, including Liam and his parents, okay? I knew what to do, which was just to be loving and do my best that I could. That's all I can handle. So I left her with Liam, and I had a mental, I was gonna say like a mental breakdown, so let's just say it was one. So I left like the campus. I walked towards the trees. In that moment, I didn't care. Like, I didn't tell anyone where I was going. Like, the way I live my life is that I don't care what type of contracts anybody think they have on me. My life is free. I have no contract. I could walk away from anything at any time. It's called an Irish exit. I don't say goodbye. So I walked, and I walked into the woods, and I was so hot, sweating so hard from this feelings, and I was crying because of a missed need and a child that, in my opinion, wasn't totally safe and cared for. So I ripped my shirt off in the woods, just me, and I had a conversation with nature, with the trees, and I said it wasn't fair. The environment was not fair, and the trees agreed. And the trees and me agreed that that wasn't a great place for me to be, because it wasn't a safe place for me to work. And it wasn't really a safe place for that child. And what the trees told me is that these systems and institutions are harming us, and they're harming our environment, and that children with autism specifically have a very special function as biological members of our species, of the human experience of biological and cultural evolution, okay? The children with autism have a very special way of interacting with our world and with their consciousness. And what I've seen is that these children, many of them that are nonverbal to that extent, have seen through the illusion of our civilization and structure and hierarchy and order and all these things that are so harmful to us. These children do not participate. They do not participate in that. Their brain chemistry and filtration is one of which that they have opened channels towards empathy and feeling and emotion in ways that what we consider to be intelligence, which is a total illusion of separation from nature, to think that we're intelligent or have something that's not shared intelligence or have some hierarchy of intelligence, is that we've missed the boat. And the boat is always there to jump on, though. We just missed it. We just jumped like off the plank instead of staying on the boat. Okay, so the boat is that children like Liam are there as a very special gift and teacher and an incredible, empathetic, and wonderful child specifically, to focus our experience around that child. Like in that moment, that child needed one-on-one care, and he needed a more gentle transition between the excitement of his birthday celebration and the rest of his day. He probably should have just gone home with his parents after the party if there wasn't enough care for him because of the level of excitement. And if that wasn't possible, what should have happened is that my teacher should have brought all the children into the classroom or wherever and worked with them if she wanted me to work with Liam, because I could have worked with Liam. I'm skilled. I'm a skilled, empathetic person with great compassion and true innocence in my heart around working with children, specifically with special needs. All children, all people. I don't separate. I don't even believe in equality anymore. I just believe in oneness. So the oneness is that would have been a true opportunity for me to have a wonderful human experience with Liam. So that was a missed opportunity, but I can go back in the frames of my mind and know what to do. So if I'm ever put in a position again with a child like that who needs attention and love and care, I will shut off the world around me and I will give that child that single point focus, because then we could walk away from a experience feeling a connectedness as opposed to a disconnectedness, and we could feel success as opposed to suffering, and we can keep our shirts on and keep our jobs and live together in harmony. So that's our story about autism, and the true nature of mind is that autism is a gift to the human experience that we should all be focused on understanding in terms of how to break down the structures of society and norms that are no longer serving us, and truly focus on an economy of care and a society based on loving one another. This is our solution for everything. So have a wonderful day. I'm off to school. I'm glad I got a chance to talk with you this morning. I'm probably just going to be weaving today, so hopefully I'll document a little bit of that work. I just never know where I'm going with my mind and my work, but I try to keep the camera rolling. All right, peace.